The Hatfield-McCoy feud may be the deadliest and most famous family feud in U.S. history, but it isn't the only one.
Here's a quick look at 3 other family feuds, just in time for your holiday get togethers.
Let's dig into this.
Warning, viewer discretion advised.
The Boyce-Sneed feud. Death toll 8.
The Boyce-Sneed feud was the classic battle over a beautiful woman. It would end with 7 men murdered in just 6 months.
The Sneeds were wealthy cattle ranchers from Fort Worth, Texas. John Beal Sneed had been married to Lena Snyder Sneed for over a decade by 1911, and they had 2 daughters. Lena had been carrying on an affair with Albert Boyce, Jr., a neighbor who was also a wealthy cattle rancher. In October of 1911, Lena told her husband she wanted a divorce and left. He responded by having her placed in an asylum, not an uncommon practice in those days when an adulterous woman was thought to be morally insane.
Within a month, Lena's lover, Boyce, rescued her from the asylum and the 2 fled to Canada. Sneed went to the police and had them both arrested. Lena was released into her father's custody and eventually returned to her husband, who insisted that Albert Boyce Jr. be tried for kidnapping. Instead, all charges were dropped and John Beal Sneed vowed revenge for his destruction of his honor, his reputation, and his happy home.
On January 13th of 1912, John B. Sneed killed Albert Boyce Sr. by shooting him in the back at the Metropolitan Hotel in Fort Worth. His defense during his murder trial was that Boyce Sr. had helped his son break up his marriage and his home. Everyone in town went to the trial, which was called the greatest legal battle ever fought in Texas courts, in newspapers across the country. Tensions were running so high that supporters on both sides fought in the streets and inside the courthouse. When a mistrial was declared and Sneed was set free, a mob attacked the courthouse and 4 men were killed before things calmed down.
Just 2 months later, Sneed's father was shot in the back in a murder-suicide. His killer had no connections to either family, but of course, Sneed was sure Boyce was behind it. He ambushed Boyce in front of the Polk Street Methodist Church in Amarillo, Texas, and shot him 3 times, killing him. Sneed then went to the courthouse and surrendered to the sheriff.
Sneed was then tried again for murdering Albert Boyce Sr. and tried for murdering Albert Boyce Jr. His defense was again based on the Boyce family breaking up his home and tarnishing his honor. Incredibly, in both cases, the jury acquitted Sneed, declaring both the killings justifiable homicides.
Sutton Taylor feud. Death toll 35. The longest and bloodiest feud in Texas history involved the friends and family of Pitkin Taylor and his brother Creed, who was a famous Texas Ranger, and the friends and family of William E. Sutton, a deputy sheriff in Clinton, Texas.
Some newspaper reports say the feud actually started in the 1840s in Alabama with a murder. Other accounts claim it was South Carolina. Whatever happened, both families moved to Texas, unknowingly ending up within a short distance of each other in DeWitt County, and they went to war.
It started on March 25, 1868, when William E. Sutton shot and killed Charlie Taylor while trying to arrest him for horse theft. Then on Christmas Eve, Sutton killed another Taylor and his associate in an argument over the sale of horses in a saloon.
Sutton had been appointed to the Texas State Police under Captain Jack Helm, originally tasked with keeping the peace during post-Civil War Reconstruction. The group terrorized southern Texas, dispensing vigilante-style justice as they saw fit. The Taylor faction included gunslinger John Wesley Hardin, a man said to be so mean he shot a man for snoring. Each side had roughly 200 men.
In 1869, the Suttons ambushed and killed Jack Taylor, and a year later, shot down 2 of Pitkin Taylor's sons-in-law over minor charges. Then in the summer of 1872, the Sutton group lured Pitkin Taylor out into one of the cornfields at night by ringing a cowbell. Taylor was ambushed and seriously wounded, dying 6 months later. At his funeral, the Taylor clan vowed revenge.
In the spring and summer of 1873, the Taylors tried to kill William Sutton 3 times. wounding him in the first attempt and killing 2 Sutton members in the others. Captain Jack Helm was killed in another attack by Jim Taylor and John Wesley Hardin.
As the Taylors tried to take out more of the Sutton group, a truce was called, but it would end in December of 1873 with more killings. William Sutton decided to leave DeWitt County for good, but he and a friend were murdered in front of their wives as they boarded a steamer in Indianola in March of 1874. The Suttons rounded up 3 of the Taylor clan and lynched them in retaliation.
The Texas Rangers were finally called in to bring the feud to an end, and it would take months. During that time, Billy Taylor, who was in jail in Indianola for the murder of 2 Sutton gang members, was nearly drowned when a tropical storm hit the town in September of 1875, flooding the jail. Officers opened all the cells as 110-plus mile-an-hour winds whipped through the town. When it was all over, the city was destroyed. As many as 300 were dead, and Taylor was long gone.
3 more men would be murdered before the Rangers were able to calm things down. 8 men were arrested and eventually brought to trial. But between good lawyers and witnesses disappearing, 7 were released. The only man convicted was eventually pardoned.
The Sutton-Taylor feud went on for the better part of a decade in Texas, and as many as 30 years overall. The Taylor side lost 22 in the battles, while the Suttons lost 13. The Pleasant Valley War, death toll between 20 and 50.
Before they declared war on each other, the Grahams and the Tewksburys, both ranching families in Pleasant Valley, Arizona, were friends and business partners. Their business was cattle rustling.
Sometime in 1882, the families had a falling out, with arguments over stolen livestock and the Tewksburys allowing their sheep to graze on Graham land as the main problems. The fistfights and name-calling would soon turn deadly.
In February of 1887, Thomas Graham shot a Tewksbury farm hand for herding sheep on Graham property. Ed Tewksbury killed Graham and went on the run. A short time later, the Grahams showed up at the Tewksbury Ranch and started an hours-long shootout. A temporary truce was called so Miss Tewksbury could bury her son and others killed in the firefight.
From 1887 until 1892, between 20 and 50 men from both sides were murdered, often by raiding parties of masked men. The feud didn't end until Tom Graham, Jr., the last surviving member of his family, was shot and killed by the fugitive Ed Tewksbury, the last of his family, in 1892. Tewksbury was tried and found guilty, but set free on a technicality. He would die in 1904 as the sole survivor of the Pleasant Valley War.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Hey, here's another DragonDen video you might like.
And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button.
And you can hit the notification bell if you'd like to know when our videos come out.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.